Hi, my name is Blake Conley and I'm a voice teacher in Tampa. Like many of you right now, I find myself stuck at home feeling like I have nothing productive to do. And that's why I wanted to spend a minute talking about practicing voice and practicing by yourself. We have an unanticipated amount of freedom in our schedules that can be used for working on new voice goals. How can we make this thing work? Hang in there, this video might be a little longer, but in the end, I think you're going to walk away with some things you can do and a path towards successful practicing. I talk with a lot of my students about how they practice, and typically they say something like, well, I sing through my song a few times, make sure it's memorized, and then I'm good to go. Unfortunately, this probably isn't helping you. More than likely it's hurting you because you're ingraining bad techniques and building muscle memory that will need to be broken later. There's not one correct way to practice. There's not one way to do anything. But there are many incorrect ways to practice. This is just simply one method by which we can get better at singing. It's a method that works. If you don't use it, that's okay. My feelings will be hurt, but more than that, you need to understand the principles and apply them in your own way. If you go into practicing without a plan and are just flying all over the place, you're not going to be successful in your work. Before we get to the practice method itself, we have to have a clear idea of where we're going. Without a goal, we'll just be wandering in the desert. We need direction. We need to know where we're headed. The first thing to think about is the voice. What does a good singing voice sound like? What qualities are we trying to enhance in our voices? One of the best ways to solidify this is to surround ourselves with good singing. Good singing transcends style and genre. More than that, it's about people who are really tapping into their voice. Take a listen to this.
Vola, o serenata, la mia diretta è sola, e con la bella testa abbandonata, posa fra le lenzuola, o serenata vola, o serenata vola.
It's one of my favorites, but not your style? That's okay. Take a listen to this one.
It ain't the music. There's something else that makes the tune complete. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
Sometimes it's important to go outside of your comfort zone and find people that are using their voice in an awesome way. I don't love Frozen, but listening to Into the Unknown by Panic! At the Disco, I can't help but respect that guy. There's so much music available at your fingertips, more than ever before. Why not listen to people who are using their voice in an amazing way? So we get the voice. The other thing to help us know where we're going is the song itself. First, we need to know how to accurately represent the notes on the page. The easiest way to be confident in this is reading music. If you aren't great at reading music yet, start working on it now. You can find part tapes or have someone record your part for you, something like that. There are a lot of resources online, but in the long run, you want to be able to rely on yourself to learn a new song. If you're thinking about how to start, watch and follow along in your music and just start thinking about if the notes go up, they're going up, and follow the music that way. If you want a little bit more, go to musictheory.net. There's lessons on there. It's really a great free resource for everybody. Now that we have a little bit better idea of where we're going and what we're trying to do, we're going to go on to the steps for practice. For the sake of time, this will be an overview, a 30,000-foot view of the process. A lot of this is going to feel like it's missing some specifics, but it should give you an outline to work with and build upon. First, we need to warm up. This is where the voice is set up for success. I think of it as putting together your instrument, like when you line up the keys on a clarinet or a bassoon. The things that we do now, the way we set up now, will affect our sound and how we sing as we get further into our practice. First thing we need to do is wake up those breathing muscles, and we're thinking about our abdominal muscles and the oblique things, all of those core muscles. Depending on how active you've been during the day, sometimes you want to start with panting or blowing on your fist. If you make a fist, really clench, blow against it, you're going to feel those abdominal muscles engage. And then move on to things where we can lean on the breath. Lip trills are one of my favorite. Just a simple... That goes a long way. We can keep coming back to that well. After that, we're going to vocalize starting in the chest voice, which is our lower register. This is where we typically speak, so we're going to start in the shallow end of the pool. A descending E is kind of nice. E. Anything kind of like that. After that, we're going to jump to the higher part of the voice, the head voice, that lighter mechanism up there. Sirens are good. Ah, simple way to get up into the head voice freely. I like to go back up on a trill, that same trill, and just kind of toss it up. Make sure that it's super free. After that trill feels good, you can go back on the yaw. So we're starting with the low voice, we're going up to the head voice, going from the chest to head voice, and then after that we bridge them back together. So something that is going to connect the whole range of the voice. A nine note scale is my favorite. Anything works. It could be a 5-note scale, but as you go across that change, we're bringing both of those ideas together, both of those voices together. If you're looking for a video with a little bit more detailed warm-up for your voice, it was something you can sing along with, check out my other video, and it's just kind of going through those steps, but it fleshes them out a little bit. It has exercises for each one. Most of all, make sure you're holding yourself accountable in this warm-up. We're not just going through the motions. Use the necessary breath energy to vocalize, sing in tune, and pay attention to details. All right, now for the music. Here are the steps that we're going to use to practice. Our first step is identifying a section or a problem spot in the music we want to focus on. We can't fix the entire song in one sitting. You can't eat the elephant all at once. You got to go in bite-sized chunks. So find your problem spot. What's going wrong here? Maybe it's incorrect pitches or rhythms. Maybe it's a range problem where things are sitting in like an awkward vocal spot. Are the word articulations getting in the way of the singing? Is your resonating space shutting down in the passage? There could be a number of concerns that need to be addressed. We identify them and we hone in on that one problem. The next step would be identifying a technique or practice to deal with the challenge. It can be difficult to know what to do, particularly if you're just starting out, but often it works well to think about the warming up. How do we set up the voice using those same kind of techniques to help us achieve things in our problem spots, to help us fix the problems? So that's step 2. Number 3 is you do it. You work through the section with the technique that you've decided to try. That's it. You do it. Number 4 is you reflect on how it went. So most of this will rely on listening to yourself. What do you hear? Does it sound better? Is the voice more free? If you have a hard time hearing the changes, try recording yourself and listening back to it. You can always delete the recording right after, but it allows us to take a step back and just listen. More than listening, you need to watch yourself. Sing in front of a mirror. Is there tension? Do you see muscles doing crazy stuff? Do you have a relaxed jaw and an open, relaxed space? Is your mouth making a funny shape? Sometimes it's a good idea to do the same thing we did with listening. Record yourself in a video, especially if you can do it in a profile. You can check your body alignment, particularly the neck and the head and all those sorts of things. And the other thing to kind of reflect on is how you feel. Is there pain in the throat or anywhere? Pain is always bad. Do you feel tense? Tension is also pretty much always bad. Are you getting tired quickly? Be intentional and recognize the difference between a bad feeling or just a different feeling. Sometimes different is just different and not necessarily wrong. Okay, so some of you may be thinking, I get the process, I got all the steps, but what if I don't know how to solve the problems that I have? It's great having a teacher to help guide you and give you tools and specific exercises to address certain problems. Here's one technique that will help us conquer a lot of problems. This technique is particularly helpful when dealing with range issues or awkward transitions through the range, but it helps really work on resonance, breathing, the whole gambit. So let's take the section you're concerned about and sing it on a trill. Sing it on that lip trill. So I'm going to try this with Joanna. And we're going to stop there because I don't know if I'll remember the rest of the words. So that was that first entrance in Joanna this is from Sweeney Todd. I'm going to make sure that I've got that breath support. I'm singing with a trill, and you can't sing with a trill without breath support. That's why we're using it, to make sure that's there. So we go through it on the trill, feeling successful. After using the trill, going to go to a neutral vowel sound. Pretty much you have two really good choices, ooh or ah. Ladies especially, you're going to love the ooh. Guys, typically we lean more toward the ah, although both are useful for everybody. For right now, I'm going to use the ah. There's my starting note again. Ah. Okay, so I was feeling successful on the lip trill. I went to the ah, I felt successful on the ah. This is how we're building our house, essentially. The breath is the foundation, and that's connected to the lip trill. The resonating space, that's that house. Everything else is just colors on the house. It's just window dressing. We keep the same frame of the ah. If I was successful, I'm going to keep that same frame. Ah. And now the next step is going to be switching right onto my words. But I want them to feel like the vowel felt. Here we go. I feel you, Joanna. But it sounds and feels a lot like that ah. Ah, I feel you. Especially the feel. I've really changed feel to feel like the ah. If you were using an ooh here, we would definitely want to modify as we get higher. Ooh. So I'm opening up all of those, that closed ooh vowel, I'm really letting it open and be awesome on top, be a lot easier to resonate and sing. When you're using the lip trill and when you're using the ah, and when you're using the words, make sure you're super legato. Make sure that there's connective tissue between each word, or excuse me, each note, and then eventually each word. It's okay to slide a little, not scoop, but slide. Ah. Maybe I wouldn't do that in performance, but it's great to help me move the voice through that range. Obviously, words do change things. Words make things harder. But if you're successful on the neutral vowel, you can find the same success by singing with the same placement, resonance, and support that you had before. Okay, so that is kind of the 30,000 foot view of how to practice. We're going to surround ourselves with awesome singers. We're going to warm up and set up the voice for success. And then we're going to go through those steps of kind of identifying the problem, figuring out a solution, and then reflecting. I hope this helped you a little bit, and I hope you learned something. If you have a question, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I would love to read them and help as much as I can. Also, if you're interested, I do lessons in the studio and online, so check the links below and contact me for more information. All right, keep singing, guys. It's gonna be great.